The Department of Defense handles vast amounts of disconnected tactical data from globally dispersed assets. But this data fragmentation leads to latency and lessened situational awareness. It slows down the decision-making cycle and compromises mission success. Kamiwaza tackles this critical challenge head-on by allowing AI to process information where your data lives. We help large-scale enterprises and government organizations harness the power of AI, even when your data is distributed.
All right, so the main purpose is that Kamiwaza brings AI anywhere and everywhere. We have 4 key differentiators in the market in our 1.0 platform. The first is the fact that we have an opinionated but loosely coupled stack. The set of Docker containers allow for over 155 packages to be bundled, installed via a pip install within 15 minutes. But if you're an enterprise that has already started the journey, we are loosely coupled, and 153 of the 155 packages can be swapped out with several lines of code, i.e. if you have your own vector database, we could simply integrate our middleware to allow for your vector database, allowing us to A, bring value within 15 minutes, and B, integrate within your current capabilities and solution. Now, one thing we started off to begin with was to ensure that this was completely hardware agnostic. We run anywhere and everywhere, which means we have to run on any CPU, GPU, and the new accelerators that come to market, and anything that has been built custom into the public clouds, i.e. inferential chips, TCP chips over at Google, etc. This allows you to have a consistent, common API, SDK, and MCP operation across your cloud, your prem, edge. Now, where it gets incredibly differentiated is the inference mesh. The ability to have at least 2 separate clusters connect via Docker Swarm, and the ability for inferences to be redirected based off of hundreds of automagic variables, such as underlying hardware, models, multimodal models, ability to process tokens. But where it really starts to get interesting is the ability to redirect based off of data. And that's why we built the locality-aware data engine. So now, when we build the actual RAG process, when we scan the initial enterprise data for retrieval augmented generation, the vectors not only get put through our stack into a vector database, but we build an additional level of metadata for that particular stack. That metadata ties the affinity of that data to the local stack that actually did the processing. Therefore, it knows the local stack to actual process data in the future. Since that metadata catalog is pushed into the inference mesh, it is now a global data catalog service with the locality of all of the data tied once again to the affinity of the local stack that can process it. And now in doing such, we could take you through the paint by numbers slide here. First, you have a request coming from an app. This is any app or service that would then simply ping our API at the vector database. In this case, our full stack running in a cloud location is queried. When that stack gets the inference request, it realizes that it needs data from both the cloud location and data from the data center location. So while it's actually running the RAG process with the cloud data, it kicks off a simultaneous inference request to the data center stack. The data center stack also runs the RAG process local to the data from the data center. It gets that answer and then sends both answers back to the original stack that got the inference, where it is concatenated in a combined single result. That combined single result is sent back to the app or the service. And in doing such, we process petabytes and exabytes of data. We process it locally at the speed of light, defying data gravity. And we've retrieved one answer across multiple data sets, geographies, and services, not only defying data gravity, but also staying within compliance to GDPR, HIPAA, and other regulations, allowing for the first time a true distributed inference through our inference mesh across data held within the enterprise firewall, processed locally, and returned globally. And this, my friends, is why we have the only differentiated solution in the market for customers like EA and others.
Kamiwaza is driven by outcome-based support. We prioritize tangible value, successful deployments, and bundled outcome services, not just features. So you get measurable deliverables. We also partner with industry leaders like Intel, Ampere, Dell, and HPE to democratize acquisition flexibility, diversify support, and maximize time to value. Deploy the pricing plan that's right for you. Book a demo today.